hereditary cases. This graph shows you incidence ratios for cancer, standardized incidence ratios for cancers at different sites in first degree relatives, which is child or sibling of an affected person. So everything increased, everything that grows above 1 shows us that there is some tendency among first degree relatives to have increased cancer risk. So for example, this study shows that approximately 5% of all individuals in North America and Western Europe will develop colorectal cancer in their lifetime, but the lifetime risk for this cancer, for colorectal cancer, is increased between twofold and threefold for people who have first degree relatives with the cancer. So you can see that this increase varies between types of cancer. It's relatively high for testis and Hodgkin disease. It's around 2-3-fold for other types, but this increase is there. So there is some, even though we cannot really call it hereditary because, you know, there's not much difference. You could argue that there's not much difference between 2% risk and 4% risk, but the increase is there. Again, suggesting that there's some hereditary underpinnings of cancer. But there's some clear familial cases. So how do we explain those? That there are some families in which there is cancer and the cancer frequency is increased. So we use this two-hit hypothesis to explain those cases. It's something that was developed like 50 years ago, and this is how it works. So that refers to tumor suppressor genes, not oncogenes. So those genes that have recessive effects, the mutations have recessive effects. So there's some loss of function involved in oncogenesis. So here's the first hit, that the first mutation. So we have two alleles for the gene, for the tumor suppressor gene, and the red one is the mutation. It's a somatic mutation. And then there's a second hit, which leads to tumor. But it's possible that because the first hit doesn't really produce the tumor itself, it makes a person a carrier. So if a person has already one mutation in the germline, which is inherited from the previous generation, then for such a person, it's easier to get a second hit, a second somatic hit, and develop cancer. Because there's just one extra hit required for cancer to develop. Unlike sporadic type, when both mutations have to happen in the same locus, and both of them have to be somatic, right? So this shows you this heterozygosity loss in tumor. So here's the normal tumor suppressor allele, and this is the mutated allele. So this person this person is this affected male is a heterozygote. So we can look at its germline. So we can take like his blood sample and look at the genotype there. So when we take now his daughter's, so she's also affected, blood sample, we see that when we look at blood, when we look at her germline, we see that she's a heterozygote. But when we look at the tumor itself, the tumor tissue, we see that the cells in the tissue are mutated for both alleles in this locus. So this is the second hit. So what it suggests is that the affected female here, the daughter, inherited the first allele from her father, and the second hit took place in somatic cells, leading to the tumor. But now, because she already had one mutation, it took only one extra mutation to produce tumor. That's why we see this increase in frequency of cancer, and we see that in some families these cancers tend to cluster. Let's take a break. I'll like 10 minutes. I'll get back to it because it's a very important concept, this two-hit hypothesis. Thank you.